Have you ever wanted to draw something like this, but you can barely draw a circle? Don't worry, we've all been there before. As someone who's been there, I can tell you that it's a common feeling, but it doesn't have to be a permanent one. The messy truth is that becoming a better artist isn't just about raw talent or having lots of inspiration. It's about putting in the time, effort, and yes, even the messiness of consistent practice. Today, we'll explore how making lots of bad art can actually be a good thing. So grab your sketchbook and let's dive in. One thing that you must know about art is that it's supposed to be messy. No matter what art material you use, in order to get to your final masterpiece, you will always end up making a mess. If you use paint, you can end up accidentally splattering some paint on yourself or on other random surfaces. If you use markers, sometimes you end up having marks on your hand. Or even if you use colored pencils like me or some other art tool that doesn't necessarily create a big mess, as you draw, you probably end up with your art supplies being all over the place. And that's what makes art fun. So when you go and practice making art, don't be afraid to make it messy because it's hard to create a beautiful masterpiece without first making a huge mess. Having messy practices is part of the learning process. When you create something that looks a little off, then that's completely okay because no one is expecting you to automatically create a great work of art. Like, I don't expect you to pick up a pencil and create a perfect piece of art right away. For example, at some point I wanted to learn how to draw this guy. For those of you who aren't familiar with who this is Artem Wing, a character from Tears of Themis. Yes. Now, I've never drawn this guy before, so I decided to give it a go and had a little practice session where I tried to draw this guy. And here's how my first attempt looked. While yes, it's not bad, it just doesn't really look like him. It looks more like a derpified version of him, but this was okay because I knew I was just practicing and didn't expect to make a perfect drawing in one go. Through practice, you learn more and more about how you create art and your own preferences as you figure out what you like and don't like in your own art. When you make mistakes, you realize and learn, like, okay, if I don't want this to happen again, I should do this instead. Or a happy accident happens and you realize that what you did makes your art look pretty cool. And this is why practicing art is so important because over time, you'll just get better and better at making art. Being unafraid to have practice sessions where you intentionally or unintentionally make ugly art also allows you to be more consistent with practicing. Now, the more consistent you are with practicing, the more beneficial it'll be for you. By practicing regularly, you can develop better hand-eye coordination, master new techniques, and hone your creativity. You can experiment with different mediums, styles, and subjects, and push yourself out of your comfort zone to create more unique and challenging artwork. With each piece you create, you gain more experience and knowledge, which can help you become more confident in your abilities as an artist. Whether you're a beginner or an experienced artist, consistent practice is the key to unlocking your full potential and achieving your artistic dreams. In my own journey of just trying to figure out how to draw Artem Wing, I drew this guy so many times over the course of a couple of days or so. On the first day, I drew this derpified version of him and this much better looking version of him. The next day, I created this serious-looking version of him, and this other version of him with this silly-looking mascot head on. In the next following days, I kept drawing him in different ways so I could really understand how to draw him before deciding to make my own original drawing of him. Staying consistent with your artistic practices can be challenging, but it's a crucial factor in achieving long-term growth and improvement as an artist. However, I also understand that we have work, go to school, and have a bajillion things going on in our lives. So here are a couple of tips to try and help you build a consistent practice routine. First, figure out a schedule for when you can actually practice. Please keep in mind that you don't have to practice every single day. If possible, I would recommend having some sort of practice session at least once or twice a week. Then, after figuring out a schedule, be sure to set a goal for yourself. For example, for me, I really just wanted to figure out how to draw Artem Wing. Now, your goal doesn't have to be as big as that. It can be as big or as small as you want it to be. For example, your goal can be as simple as trying to figure out how to draw a really good solid circle. Anyways, what matters is that you set a goal so that when you do go and sit down to practice making art, you're not sitting there and wasting some of your precious scheduled time as you try to figure out what to draw. To make sure that you keep practicing, I recommend having at least one thing that helps keep you accountable. This means that maybe one of your friends could be your accountability partner and ensure that you actually do your practice sessions. This could be fun as well because you could even practice together as well. However, if you don't have any artistic friends like me, then you could use social media to help keep you accountable. Posting your art consistently on a social media platform is kind of like submitting your weekly homework when it's due, but posting art is definitely way more fun than doing homework. In addition to having some sort of accountability system, you also need something to keep you motivated. Maybe you're like me and you like Artem Wing's character and you really want to be able to draw him. Or maybe you want to develop and figure out your own art style. What keeps you motivated could be anything you want, but you need to have this motivation or else practicing art will just feel like a chore. Overall, consistent practice is essential for any artist who wants to improve their skills, increase their creativity, and build their confidence. It may be messy and challenging at times, but the benefits are well worth the effort. By making a commitment to practicing regularly and finding ways to hold yourself accountable, you can unlock your full potential and achieve your artistic goals. Remember, it's not about being perfect, but about the progress you make along the way. So, embrace the mess and keep creating. And speaking of messes, if you're interested in seeing all the mistakes I've made while filming my own drawing process, then click here. In that video, I provide some useful tips that you can use to avoid making the same filming mistakes as I did. I'll see you there!